Hi everyone, in this video I wanted to talk about our project that we completed in Brixton. We converted a 1-bedroom apartment into a 2-bedroom apartment. So the purchase price was £240,000. After 6 months we had it revalued. Later on in the video I'm going to let you know what the valuation came out at. Let's get into it. So we purchased this apartment on a bridge. So with this type of product, it gets kind of automatically moved over onto the buy-to-let once you've completed the works that you said that you were going to complete. Let me just take you through the floor plans and what attracted me to this particular property. So this was in Marcus Garvey Way, Herne Hill. Literally, so this property was about a 7-minute walk from Brixton Underground Station. A great location, you know, really fashionable, really desirable. The space of this property was really good as well. As you open the door, you're greeted by this really big space, and towards the end of the hallway there's this really big cupboard. So if we have a look at the proportion of the apartment, we can see that the living room was 17.83 square meters. Which is a good size. So when we're doing these types of projects, we're looking for the open plan kitchen diner area to be at least 15 square meters. You know, there's lots of light coming into this apartment, so it gives that illusion that it actually is bigger than 47 square meters. And if we look at the kitchen, you know, on the picture, it doesn't look very big. You know, when I went there, I did feel that it was big enough for a bedroom. So again, you know, we tend to want the room to be at least 8 square meters because that's a good size. This was the existing bedroom in this apartment, good size, 10 square meters at least. And so what we did was we actually cut a hole behind where that wardrobe is into the wall to create an ensuite for this particular bedroom. The final photo is a photo of the bathroom. Again, quite tired, quite dated, quite old. Okay, so the first photo that you can see is the open plan kitchen diner. So where the kitchen door was, we kind of boarded that up and we used that space to incorporate an L-shaped kitchen. Again, the double doors and the additional window on the side just bring in so much light. This is a picture of the main bedroom that we renovated. We tend to make sure that we get a double bed, the bedside cabinets, a wardrobe, and we have an interior designer that helps with the staging as well. We used the space to create a toilet, an ensuite. So we had a toilet, a shower and a sink in there. So the next photo you're seeing is a photo of what used to be the kitchen. As you can see, we've got a double bed, bedside cabinet and a wardrobe in there as well. And the final photo is a picture of the bathroom. Again, in this particular one, we decided to put in a shower and get rid of the bathtub. Again, it's just making sure that, when people come to see our apartments, they like the condition that they're in, the works that we've completed. And it also means that, we can charge higher rents, but also at the same time, when people do come to view the apartment, they do tend to go really, really quickly. This apartment we found on Rightmove. It was with Foxtons. Foxtons is really good in terms of its systems and processes and follow-ups. Our criteria was that we were looking for 1-bedroom apartments with a separate kitchen. We had a look at the floor plans and it kind of worked in terms of what we do. Refurbishing and reconfiguring the apartment to go from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. In terms of this particular project, it was slightly different in the sense that, we tend to buy on a bridge and refinance after 6 months onto a traditional buy-to-let mortgage. The reason that we wait for 6 months is that, we can get better rates and better LTVs. You purchase the product on a bridge and you let them know what you're going to do with the apartment to add value and what you think it might be worth. So, we told them that the purchase price is $240. And refurbished the apartment and sent them a schedule of works. And so when they go out to value the apartment, they'll value it as it is, given what you're buying the apartment for, but also they'll have a look at whether or not they agree with your end value. I just wanted to talk through some of the numbers on this particular project. So let's go through the numbers now. So the purchase price of this apartment was £240,000. The stamp duty was £9,500. The legal fees were £4,521 and the bridging costs were £10,799. We had some short-term bookings in there whilst the apartment was on a bridge of £256, and the refurbishment costs were £26,229.40. We had some furniture and other costs of about £3,000. Total costs for this particular project were £293,000, 814 and 16 pence. So we refinanced onto a buy-to-let, and in terms of the valuation, that came back out at £320,000. So that meant that the buy-to-let advance was £257,079. In terms of the money left in on this particular project, it was £36,735.16. Now, if we look at the rent per annum and the purchase price, that gives a gross yield of 8.5%. The main metric we tend to look at is the return on investment, and that comes out at 28%. So one of the other things that we tend to look at is if a normal buy-to-let investor in London, for example, was to purchase this property. This example, based on £320,000 as a two-bed, they would have put down a deposit of £80,000. They would have paid stamp duty of £15,600, legal fees £1,350, and we've added furniture costs just to compare like with like of £4,000. So a normal traditional buy-to-let investor would have invested £100,000 into this particular project. So if we look at the rent per annum and the mortgage payments, the net return on investment for this particular project for a normal buy-to-let investor would have been around 11%. One of the things we like to look at is the multiple. How many projects can we do compared to a normal buy-to-let investor? You know, we can buy 2.75. So that's one of the metrics we look at also. So again, in terms of an overview of this project, this was a one-bedroom apartment that we wanted to convert into a two-bed, two-bath apartment to create that uplift in value.